Hello, this is Harry Forbes from ARC Advisory Group. I'm here with Dave Emerson from Yokogawa. Dave, welcome to the ARC Forum.
Thank you, Harry. Great to be back.
Well, listen, Dave, Yokogawa has been engaged very heavily as system integrator for the ExxonMobil Lighthouse project, which is really their first real process use and a real unit of open process automation in the OPAS standard. Yokogawa has been the system integrator for that whole project. Tell us about that experience and what you've learned.
Well, Harry, we've been very fortunate to have been selected by ExxonMobil back in 2018-19 timeframe to run their OPA test bed. And we built a facility, opened a facility up in the Woodlands, Texas to be near them. And it was a collaborative environment between our engineers and ExxonMobil, plus partners came in. And we had a lot of technology and OT partners come in to collaborate on that. What we did there was prove technology that we then carried over into the OPA Lighthouse system for ExxonMobil. And again, a successful test bed run. We were fortunate to be selected by ExxonMobil to put out their first OPA system, which is now up and running, is in production. Dave DeBarry talks about that today, and Kelly Lee will talk about that today at the ARC Forum. What this is the first OPA system that's on a production facility in the world. And this is up and running today. It's making money for ExxonMobil, I hope. And what we have is the introduction of new technology, really a new control system per se, based upon the OPAS standard. And the bottom line is it's working, it's controlling the process, and it's a brand new architecture that's going to deliver lower total cost of ownership to ExxonMobil. And so it's something to see, and I'm sure you'll hear more about it in the ExxonMobil talks today.
Well, we will, but ExxonMobil isn't your only customer. And what are your other customers and potential customers talking about with you in this area? What do you find there?
Well, we've been engaged with customers around the world in many different industries, and they're asking us how can they use open process automation, OPAS standard, in order to lower their total cost of ownership, but even more importantly, to generate new value. Because lowering total cost of ownership is a great endeavor and is very important from an ROI standpoint. But what really companies want is to understand how they can generate value with new technology. And OPAS systems bring in new technology, faster and higher rate access to the process data, which is going to feed digital twins, feed AI applications, and whatever else value-added applications come on in the company. Right now, many of these companies feel constrained by their legacy DCSs and be able to get this data out into the digital twins, into the AI-enabled applications. And this is a stumbling block. So we're seeing that interest around the world from companies wanting to know how they can adopt this faster.
But there's still a lot of resistance to any kind of disruption to a legacy system, even if it's near end of life or even past end of life. So what do you see when you're working with potential customers or customers about the business drivers that, what are their perspectives on this situation and how to deal with it?
Every operating company deals with an obsolescence of systems, of components. And there's no one way to bring OPAS systems into a company. But number one is they want to get the new value without disrupting what they have. In some instances, it may be removing an old, in 1990s era control system, bringing a new one in, and therefore you get newer technology, the data rates I mentioned earlier, higher degrees of cybersecurity confidence involved with built-in security. But others want to bring in OPAS as part of or next to their existing legacy DCS systems. And we're working with companies on all these different fronts and how they want to bring it in. So there's no one right way, but what we'll see, I believe, is the OPA technology coming in and being used side by side. In one company, as publicly said, they view this as upgrading by replacement. They're bringing OPAS in as they replace components and parts of other systems.
So it seems like your role as a company, Yokogawa's role, is, I wouldn't say transitioning, but you're becoming much more of a systems integrator than you were before, and as well as a product and solutions company. Is that your perspective on it?
Yes, Yokogawa has been a Mac major automation
Right.
contractor for many years. We've handled some huge projects as a Mac. So a lot of those skills now are coming down into the DCS area, where we're basically a Mac that can also put together the fit for purpose automation system or OPAS system that's going to be the foundational layer for an operational technology stack. So Yokogawa will transition. More and more, what end users see is the value they get is from software, and it's not from the hardware. Hardware is necessary, and in our business, we have some very unique hardware in the I/O side, whether you talk about 4 to 20 milliamps or go into newer technology like APL. The hardware is very unique, so that's not going to go away. But if we look back, there's been a mega trend, and we are seeing the latest stage of this mega trend has been to take information technology, consumer-based technology, back to the 80s. It started with video boards, replaced DCS proprietary video drivers. Networks have been replaced. There was a time when people said Ethernet could not be used on a control system. I'm sure you remember that.
Sure.
It went through. Yes, we went to Windows and other technology. So what we're seeing now is that mega trend hit the controller level,
Right.
and I/O probably will stay as it is as APL and other technologies go to the field. But we, right now, have created software-defined automation systems using OPAS. And you can deploy the controller software, the alarm system, function blocks. You can deploy these in whatever hardware is appropriate for that challenge.
And that's really up to the customer. I've seen in the factory space some very different kind of applications as well that are similar. So there's a lot more customer input or meeting the customer demands in these, rather than taking a product and sticking it on their application.
That's right. The ability is we want to bring is the ability of customers to work with them to understand what their needs are, where they want to see growth, where they want to see new technologies come in first, because that's where they're going to see most value, and then be able to provide them the software and the appropriate hardware environment to run that software in order to accomplish that.
Well, that sounds like a new role for the supplier entirely. And as you make this transition, we look forward to hearing more about this in the future, Dave.
Well, thank you, Harry.
Thank you very much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is Harry Forbes from ARC Advisory Group. My guest has been Dave Emerson from Yokogawa. Thank you for watching.